Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Trey Olds Radio Show. Thank you for joining us this evening. Today my special guest is actor and voice actor, Mr. Jeff Baker. Thank you, and join us in a minute. Okay, my first question to you is, how did you get started being a voice actor? How did your career begin?
Well, when I was a kid living in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a long time ago, I used to listen to a guy on the radio who's on in the morning. His name was Reed Cordick, and he was on KDKA radio. And he used to do these little sketches where he would have these little characters come into the studio and interact with him and set up some pretty funny situations. And I just thought that was fascinating because in my mind I could picture what was going on. And I thought, man, someday I'd like to do that. And I guess about the age of 10 or 12, something like that, I realized I started doing character voices and realized I was pretty good at it. And I kept playing around with it all through school. And then after a stint in the Air Force, I went into the radio business and started doing what I had heard as a kid on the air with my own cast of characters and things like that. So that was about 1971, I think, that I first started using character voices to help make a living. And I did that for a long time at different markets all around the country. I worked my way up to larger cities and larger paychecks, but basically doing the same kind of character voice-based radio show. And in Washington, D.C., where I spent most of my years in that career, there was a place called Bethesda Softworks.
Oh, yeah.
And they do video games. And they contacted me to come in and start doing character voices for their games. And I did a bunch of them, a whole bunch of different characters for them. So I'm retired from doing it full time. Now I still have a studio in my home, and I still putter around with recording and character voices. I'm working on a podcast myself that I hope to launch later this summer. And I took a long time to answer a simple question. But that's how my career got started and how it developed.
Yeah, that's how I know you from the video game, from Bethesda Softworks. That's how I know your work, and I'm a big fan of that. So.
Okay. I did a lot of work on stage, too, as an actor. And doing different voices came in real handy for shaping characters for the stage. So that helped a lot, too. As far as Bethesda Softworks is concerned, I did all of my recording for them in their studios. I also did character voices for a place called Graphic Audio, and they did audio books, and we acted them out. And some of that work I did in my own studio, and would just send it to them as MP3 files. But some of it we did in their studio as well. So I've got to say, doing character voices has been very good for me.
Yeah, I've done some voiceover work myself, and it is very interesting. And I've done a few theater stage roles, too. And as you said, that comes in handy in voice work, too. You can take that, so forth, and it's very interesting.
It sure is.
My next question to you is, what do you find is the most challenging part for you being a voiceover actor?
Well, I guess any form of acting, the big challenge, of course, is finding work.
Yeah.
There's an old saying in theater that you're working when you're trying to find a job, and then when you get the job, it's vacation. And I think that's really true. Because I'm retired, I'm not as active in looking for it as I used to. But there were days when I had to, before streaming audio became so popular, I used to have to record and burn CDs of my demo and hand deliver it all around to different advertising agencies and things like that. So it was real hard at the beginning. Now, of course, I have a website, and occasionally somebody will bump into it, and I'll get a job through that. That's probably the fastest way for me to get work now. But that's, again, I'm fairly well retired, but I still do it occasionally.
Yeah. As long as you enjoy it and have the passion for it, you'll keep doing it, from time to time.
That's right. That's actually right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you have any upcoming, you mentioned a podcast you're going to work on. Do you have any, could you tell us a little bit about that, your podcast?
Sure. The podcast is going to be kind of what I did on radio. I'll be doing theater of the mind, and it will be these different characters that I'll interact with that come from some mysterious place beyond this door that I bump into. That I come across this door in the middle of Texas, and I open it, and all sorts of creatures come through there and different kinds of characters, and then I interact with them, and I tie those interactions to popular classic rock songs. So it's a little bit of like listening to a music radio station, but it's got a lot of fantasy type stuff attached to it as well, which I think might be appealing to people who enjoy playing some of the video games. It's just a very different kind of venue for those kinds of critters, but I think it should be a pretty fun one, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that sounds very interesting. I'll definitely check that out when it comes out. Sounds very fascinating.
Now, there's one thing I wanted to mention is there's going to be a game con in Dallas, August 9th through the 11th, and it's going to feature, game manufacturers, a lot of gamers and players, and also some of us who work on the microphones in those games are going to be there too. It's going to be quite an event, and I'm really looking forward to being there, and Wes Johnson will be there. He's another voice actor that worked with me at Bethesda Softworks, and a whole lot of game planners, developers, and so forth. It's going to be a really interesting time. Should be attracting a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, I've interviewed Wes Johnson a few years ago on my show. He's a very nice man. Very good voice actor.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Yeah, he's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing him again because he's still up in D.C., and I'm now living just outside of Dallas. So it'll be good to reunite with Wes. We'll have a lot of fun.
Yeah. And that's a good thing, those game cons or comic cons. That's a good experience to reunite with fellow voice actors you worked with.
Mm-hmm. Big time.
Oh, yeah. My last question to you is, what is your advice to people who want to be an actor or a voice actor?
Okay, well, I think first thing to do is make sure you've got the talent for it. And if you don't just naturally have any kind of real inbred talent, then find a good school in your area that teaches theater, teaches acting. I think learning that as a foundation for doing voice acting is very important, because a lot of the things that you learn in an acting class translate into voice acting. How to develop a character, and how to make that character real for yourself so you can make it real for the audience. Those are important things to be able to do. Then once you've had some experience as a stage actor or on camera, either way, it doesn't matter, then you can start thinking about being a voice actor. Can you do different character voices? It's not necessary to be a voice actor. Your own voice might suffice just fine. There might be a character that would be looking for a voice just like yours. But if you can learn to do character voices, that's a great idea. And the best way to go about that is play video games watch animation on television, and try and imitate the voices that you hear. I can't tell you how to do that. It's just, throat and tongue and and lips. I don't know exactly how to tell you to use those tools in order to recreate those voices. You just have to sort of play with it a little bit and just give it a try. It's easy to pitch your voice up and speak in a higher voice, and you can pitch your voice lower and speak in a lower voice. So those are two possible character voices right there. And then you can alter them. You can take your high voice and make it a little raspy. Or take your lower voice and make it raspy. You just have to play with those things and see what you can come up with.
Yeah, there's so many fashion. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say the next thing you have to do is demo out there. And I do it with a website. That's always a good way to do it. And you tag your website with voice actor or narrator, actor, announcer, whatever kind of tag words you can think of that would apply to what you do. And then try and attract some people. Look on the internet, Google up game developers, and maybe there's some in your area, and you can go to them and pitch your work to them. Have a good demo ready to go on your website. Read a story, read a book, write your own story, and just have as many different characters as you can in there, characters that you've worked on. And hopefully people will be drawn to your site. They'll listen to your demo, and you might get some phone calls. It's a very tough, competitive business, and it takes a long time to get established, so it takes a lot of patience, and it has to be something that you really have a passion for in order to pursue it.
Yeah, you have to have the passion for it, and if you really love it and enjoy it, you'll go far in the voiceover industry with it.
You stick with it, and that's it. You just have to keep your eyes on the bullseye, and keep working toward that goal. And eventually you'll pick up a little work here and there, and who knows. I've been very fortunate in that I started when I was very young, so it made it a lot easier for me when I got to the age where I could start selling what I could do. It made it easier, and being on the radio certainly helped a lot. It helped raise my profile some. But you just have to stick with it.
Yep, exactly. Well, Mr. Baker, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and thank you very much.
It's been my pleasure, Trey, and I look forward to hearing your podcast very soon.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.